Welcome to this 20-minute energizing yoga flow. You won't need any equipment for this class, just yourself and perhaps a comfortable surface beneath you. When you're ready, find a comfortable seated position, ensuring that you're grounding down through both sits bones. And we'll take one big inhale through the nostrils, extending the arms overhead. And on our exhale, we'll lower our hands to heart center. Starting the class with 3 cleansing breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Starting in a seated position, we will commence with some neck rolls. So extending your left arm out towards the side of the mat, gently lowering your right ear towards your right shoulder, feeling a nice stretch along the side of your neck. Lowering the chin to the right collarbone, chin to chest, and back to center. Placing the left palm on the thigh, and we'll go on the other side. Lowering the left ear to the left shoulder, chin to collarbone, chin to chest, and back to center. From here we'll find some dynamic movements. So again, walking the fingertips out, you might like to lower down onto the left forearm as you extend the right arm over and sideways, and we'll go on the other side. Inhale, extend, exhale back to center, flowing with the breath. You can make this as small or a large a movement as you like. We're just warming up the side body here. Once more either side. You might like to gaze up towards that armpit, or perhaps closing the eyes. And again on the right side, extending that arm overhead, slowly finding your way back to center. We will inhale and extend our arms skywards, joining our hands together at heart center and flowing through once more. Really working on opening through the shoulders, the chest. When you're ready, we will transition onto our knees. Toes are untucked, resting on our shins. Roll the shoulders back and down. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, joining the hands to heart center. From here, we'll lift our hips up as we transition into a kneeling position, grounding down through the left leg. We'll extend our right leg out to the side. Extending the arms sideways, inhale, lower the right arm to the right leg as you extend your left arm overhead, and coming forward and twisting onto the other side. Left fingertips meet the floor, flowing with the breath. Finding a lovely side stretch and a slight core activation as we begin to work the muscles of the abdominal region and the posterior chain. Again, you can make these moves as small or as large as you like, finding static or dynamic postures. It's entirely up to you. This is your practice. And on your next inhale, we will flow around to a side plank supported variation, extending that right leg up in line with the hip. Foot is flexed, toes are pointed forwards, arm is extended, just ever so slightly grounding down through the fingertips of the left hand. And we will begin to extend and lower that right leg, keeping the quads engaged, the glutes firm, ensuring that those hips stay squared and you're not splaying out to the side. And we'll come up back into our kneeling position and go on the other side, extending the left leg out this time. Leg engaged, toes pointed forward. On your inhale, you'll extend your left arm somewhere along your left leg. And flowing with the breath, we will transition from a gate pose to an extended side angle stretch. With every expansion, seeing if you can breathe a little deeper, broaden across the collarbones, the chest a little more. Find a little more length in the neck, the spine. Perhaps relaxing any accessory muscles, facial muscles. And pausing a little longer where you'd like to find a bit more of a stretch. Remember, this is your practice. And it's perfectly natural if you notice some imbalances between either side of the posture. This is an invitation to come back to this and explore a little bit more practice on one side. And we'll transition into the supported side plank. Left leg is extended, leg is engaged, foot is flexed, toes pointed forward, hips are squared. And we will gently tap those left toes down and lift the leg right back up. Maintaining that core activation, really feeling it along the outer hips, and coming back to a kneeling position. From here we will lower down onto our sits bones, palms in your lap, facing up, just taking a moment to re-equilibrate the breath, tune into the body, accept any sensations that have arisen. On your next inhale, we will gently float the arms up skywards, joining the palms together. Exhale, lower the hands to heart center. Transitioning into cat-cow, starting in tabletop, facing the short edge of your mat. On your inhale, we will scoop the chest forward, broadening across the collarbones. Exhale, curl and round the spine, drawing the chin towards your chest. Going at your own rhythm. Any cadence is a good cadence, finding what works for you. Again, really working on warming up the spine here, finding some stretches in all angles. From here we will make some gentle circles with our hips. Fingers are facing towards the edge of the mat. You can close your eyes here, as this is really about what the position feels like as opposed to what it looks like. There really is no right or wrong. When you're ready, coming back to a tabletop position, we will walk our fingers out in front a few inches as we tuck our toes and lift our hips towards the sky, grounding down through the heels. If this is your first downward dog for today, you might like to bend the knees considerably, particularly if you have tight hamstrings. Or you might like to walk out your legs a little bit, pedaling one foot, then the other, finding some slight hip rotations, all the while trying to maintain stability across the shoulders and squaring of those shoulders, grounding down through the arms. On our inhale, we will float our right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift. Lower it down. You might like to rise up onto the ball of your left foot as we work through these hamstring and glute firing series. Ensuring that those hips stay squared, you're not externally rotating that right hip. Really just lift that leg as high as you can, ensuring that the activation, the contraction is coming from the right hamstring. And we'll keep our leg up. A few more breaths, breathing through any tension. On your next inhale, engage the core and draw your right knee towards your left elbow. Exhale, back to three-legged dog. Inhale, knee to elbow. Exhale, three-legged dog. And again. On your next inhale, guide your right knee to the outer edge of your left elbow and gently place your right foot down on the floor in line with your arms as we come into a fallen triangle. Gently place the left palm under the left shoulder. Inhale, extend the right leg. Flip the three-legged dog as we come into a wild things posture. Again, finding a lovely heart-opening posture, broadening across the chest, the collarbones. Placing the right palm back down under the shoulder, transitioning into three-legged dog. When you're ready, stepping forward into crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. You might like to extend the arms skywards, joining the palms together, or perhaps place them on your hips to help you find that alignment and square your hips towards the front of the mat. From here, we'll lower our back leg down on a 45-degree angle, a back foot, as we transition into Warrior One, ensuring that that front knee remains in line with the ankle. And transitioning to the side of our mats, we will come into Warrior Two. Extending the arms out sideways, you might like to gaze in front of your right fingertips, the arm that is in front. And get ready. On your inhale, we'll transition into a sun warrior, allowing that left arm to float down the back leg, the left leg, finding a nice side twist. Framing the front foot, we will transition into a supported warrior 3 variation. Grounding down through the right foot, you might like to keep a micro bend in that leg as you extend your left leg out. Foot is flexed, toes are pointing towards the floor, ensuring that the hips stay squared. We don't want to externally rotate that left leg. And on our inhale, we'll come into a curtsy lunge squat and back to warrior 3. So bringing the left knee slightly behind the right calf, coming into a squat and extending that left leg back out behind you, using the fingertips for support, relaxing the muscles of the face, ensuring that your navel is engaged, your core is activated, you're protecting the muscles of the back. And from here, we will join our hands together at heart center, coming into a warrior 3 variation. You might like to extend the arms out in front, and we will step back into warrior 1. Float the arms down, frame the foot, and transition back into downward facing dog. You might like to take a vinyasa here, or just take a few moments to catch your breath. And then when you're ready, we'll go on the left side, floating up onto the right toes, extending that left leg skywards. Leg is engaged. The activation is coming from the hamstrings, the glutes, the hips are staying squared to the mat. Shoulders are squared, using those fingers, the knuckles, the palms, the wrists for support. Finding balance and gently holding that left leg up towards the sky. You can do this a few more breaths. Breathe through any tension. And on our inhale, we will cross our left knee towards our right elbow. Exhale, extend the leg back to 3-legged dog. Once more. Now we will pause for a moment with our left knee next to our right elbow. Plant the left leg down, coming into a variation of fallen triangle. Heart opener, side body stretch. Placing the right palm underneath the shoulder. Stepping back into 3-legged dog and flipping the grip, transitioning into wild things. Using the pelvis to support you, lifting up across the chest. Gently placing the left palm back down underneath your shoulder and floating the left leg towards the top of the mat, coming into crescent lunge on the left. Just a few breaths here. And then we will slowly lower our back foot down on a 45-degree angle as we transition into warrior 1, keeping those arms extended. One more breath. And pivoting towards the side as we extend into warrior 2. Arms are extended out by either side, so you might like to gaze forward over the left fingertips. One more breath. We will flip the grip of the front hand as we transition into Sun Warrior, floating the left arm down along the back leg as you extend that arm up and over, finding a nice side stretch. Stepping forward to frame the front foot, we will transition into a supported Warrior 3. You might like to keep a micro bend in both legs if that's in your practice, or extend them, ensuring that the right foot of the leg that is extended back, the foot remains flexed and the toes are pointed towards the ground. We will transition into the Warrior 3 Curtsy squats. So with control, bringing that right knee behind the left calf and extending the leg back up. Grounding down through that left leg. You might start to feel it along the outer region of the hips, the gluteus medius, really working to stabilize us here, ensuring that you're maintaining a natural arch in the foot, and maybe floating your hands to Namaskar Mudra, Maybe extending the arms out in front and transitioning into warrior one. One more breath. Floating the arms down to frame the front foot and stepping back into downward facing dog. From here we will slowly walk to the top of our mat, coming into a forward fold. You might like to grab opposite elbows with either arms, coming into a ragdoll. Perhaps shaking the head yes and no. Really just allowing everything to relax, to hang loose. On our inhale, we'll come up into a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Once more, inhale, lift. Stay here for a moment. And bend the knees, come into a forward fold. From here, we will plant our hands slightly out in front as we transition into crow pose, balancing the knees on the triceps, gently floating the feet up off the floor, really working on lifting up through the core, through the abdominal, finding lightness, stability and balance as you play around with this gentle arm balance. Slowly coming out of the posture. You might like to shake out the wrists, find some wrist rotations to counteract that posture. Grounding down in Malasana, Garland's pose or yogi squat, we will extend our arms out like bird wings. You might like to gaze up and over the left fingertips, gently placing the right fingertips on the floor. Coming back to Namaskar Mudra, we'll go on the other side, extending the arms out on an angle. Broadening across the chest. Once more either side. Extend the arms out, or you might like to find a bind, wrapping the arms behind the back and around the right leg, perhaps clasping the fingers together. One more breath. Coming back to heart center, and we'll go again on the other side, extending the arms out on a diagonal, or you might like to find a bind, interlacing the fingers together behind the back. One more breath, and back to yogi squat. From here, as gracefully as possible, we will transition onto our bums, perhaps scooting forward a little bit, and we will come into Bharakanasana, bound angle or butterfly pose. Inhale, extend the arms skywards. Exhale, lower to heart center. Once more. You might like to interlace the fingers around the feet. Maybe you'd like to hold on to the shins, the calves, press onto the outer thighs. Whatever enables you to find length, as we then hinge forward from the hips and work our way into a forward fold variation of this asana. You might be all the way seated upright, and that's enough for you today. That's perfect. Whatever feels comfortable for your practice. You might like to make fists with your hands and support your forehead like a pillow. Just really melting into the posture and letting go of any tension or stress that may have been built up over the course of today, over the course of this practice. Just tuning into the breath. From here, we will scoot forward and lower ourselves down one vertebra at a time, coming down into a supine position on our backs. Taking a moment to get comfortable, grounding down through both hemispheres of the body. You might like to rest here with your feet planted, knees facing towards the sky. You might like to cactus the arms out here and find a figure 4 with your right ankle over your right thigh and gently lowering the hips towards the left side of the room. Meanwhile, rotating your face towards the right side of whatever space you are in. You might like to close the eyes here, just ensuring that both shoulders remain grounded to the surface beneath you so we can protect the lumbar and sacral regions of our spine. Taking a few gradual breaths here. And if any of these postures feel particularly restorative, I invite you to pause the class and stay as long as you like and join us a little later. If not, we'll go on the other side, just finding a windshield wiper motion to stretch out the legs, the hips. It can be nice to invite some movement after these static postures. So placing the outer edge of the left ankle on top of the right thigh, we will slowly lower our legs and our hips towards the right side as we turn to face the left. Again, being mindful to keep those shoulders grounded and just relaxing into the posture. Breathing deeply, letting go. One more breath, and slowly working our way back towards the midline. You might like to knock the knees together as you walk your feet out towards the edges of your mat, just finding some relief for the lower back. Taking a few breaths here, and we will transition into Supta Bharakanasana, a supine variation of butterfly, joining the soles of the feet together, knees are splaying out wide. You might like to place one palm on your heart, the other on your belly, and relax. When you're ready, we will slowly work our way into our final relaxation posture, Shavasana, corpse pose. Again, I invite you to pause the class here and rest in Shavasana for 5, 10, 15 minutes if you have it. If not, just beginning to invite some small movements into the feet, the fingers, maybe rolling the neck side to side, stretching out in either direction. And with the eyes closed, coming onto one side, you might like to use your palm as support, perhaps using your arm as a pillow, and slowly coming up into a seated position. Again, grounding down through both sits bones. Taking a moment to acknowledge your efforts today for showing up to this practice, for showing up to your well-being, your health, your happiness. On your next inhale, extending the arms skywards, joining the palms together, and this time lowering your hands to your third eye center, just gently placing your thumbs in contact with the forehead. And we'll take 3 cleansing breaths to close practice. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Thank you so much for joining this practice. Namaste.